Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Outlaws Sports Network production. I am the phenomenal K-Dog. Kody, we got Mr. James Beatley here alongside of me. We're giving a recap of Game 1 of the 2018 Stanley Cup Final. And if you watch this channel about 4.5 hours ago, you saw Randall and myself give a preview for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals and the Stanley Cup Final preview. I was wearing a jersey and a scarf during that time. I've since changed. Not necessarily for the outcome. One, because it was hot. Two, because I just wanted to feel something more comfortable. So, Game 1 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Washington Capitals was crazy. It was stupid. It was, if you're an Outsiders fan, you don't have a team in the mix. I guess it was really good hockey, scoring-wise. If you're a team, especially the Capitals fans, you feel a little upset about this one. James, what did you take of this overall perspective before we kind of dive into everything here for Game 1?
I think you can take two things out of Game 1 from the Capitals' perspective. First thing is we showed that Marc-Andre Fleury is beatable. He's had a fantastic run in the playoffs so far. I think before coming into tonight's game, he had like a 1.67 goals against average, and we put 4 past him tonight. So we can beat Fleury. And the second thing is, and this might be a bad thing for Vegas, is the Capitals will be coming out a little bit more motivated than usual, given some of the action on the ice tonight. And for Vegas, you don't want to see a Caps team who is running at 130%. Tampa saw it after Game 5. Lost the last 2 games. So I think Washington, honestly, even though they had a losing effort in Game 1, they proved, hey, look, Fleury's not he can let goals in. He's beatable. And 2, watch out. We got some revenge that we need to, and then another thing is, if you take away the empty net goal, that BS Ryan Reeves goal, it's tied at 4. And then there was another penalty that led another goal that Vegas scored. I can't remember when exactly that was. And then some just poor puck possession in the Capital zone. Washington probably should have won this game. They didn't. They got a rebound and come back and win 4 more. Vegas only needs to win 3. From an outsider's perspective, let's just say you take my Capitals jersey off. It's going to be, from an outsider's perspective, good hockey, good series. Yes, I'm a little upset with some of the calls that were made, but I mean, you can take some positive things out of that loss.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to Game 7 against Tampa. I didn't think we played a great all-around hockey game. I mean, we were great on defense. Was pretty good for the most part. Offense was hit or miss, but we did capitalize on the chances that we had on offense in Tampa on Game 7. And we had quite a few lucky breaks there. That kind of fucking Braves just keep shooting himself in the fucking foot. lucky breaks that happened as well.
I think to add to that, we caught Tampa at a point where they were just flat. They devastated Game 6. Devastated coming into Game 6. They could have won it in Washington. They didn't. And then we caught them flat-footed. Like, it looked basically like Game 1 and Game 2 of that series. They just couldn't shoot the puck. They wouldn't shoot the puck. They tried passing too much. And then I think another thing that really the Capitals didn't play their best game in Game 7, and then you go through all of the celebration of the Capitals made the Stanley Cup, and then you got to travel 3 hours backwards in time and only have one day really to practice in Vegas. And I mean, it's kind of expected for a team going out west to be a little sluggish. And I don't think overall play production-wise they were sluggish. I mean, there were some bad plays, bad defensive plays. People looked tired going into the end of the game. But it was pretty good action.
I mean, it's like I said in the preview that this is on paper, it's obviously the best expansion team anybody's ever seen. And this team has the speed, it has the skill that Tampa had and Pittsburgh had, but they got they got a little more speed, a little bit more wind underneath them. So I knew that was going to be a factor coming into it. And I just thought we needed to have a physical presence all night long, and we did somewhat. Especially in the offensive zone. Sometimes when we would get sustained pressure, we had a little bit more physicality and we just outworked them. That's something we got to keep doing. The first goal of the game, a power play goal for Vegas. Burakovsky is so.
It's hilarious. He was like the Game 7 hero. Oh my gosh, he scored 2 goals, and then Game 1 of the next
You're
series.
expecting him to break out. You're expecting him to now, after Game 7, to come into Game 1 and basically create that offensive presence like he did in Game 7. And throughout the game, he actually did better. After he had that was a stupid penalty he took over the boarding. Anytime you see a guy's numbers like that, you just know as a player, unless you're holding him up against the boards for board play, that's different. But he, just threw him right into the boards, and you never want to do that, especially when you see the guy's numbers. So that was a stupid penalty to take for him. It resulted into a goal. That's how usually it happens whenever you get a dumb penalty and they end up in the back of the net. And then he come down the wing or down a couple minutes later. Connolly gets his 5th of the playoffs with a sweet deflection goal. And at that point, I was like, all right, this is either going to be most of the scoring going to happen in the first, and in the second and third period, it's going to be more of a defensive battle, or this may be a shootout. But I was leaning more towards the defensive side, and of course, I was wrong on that one. But and then Backstrom got the lead a couple minutes later, and I'm like, this is looking good. If we can. We got the lead. Let's keep that lead. Vegas hasn't been down in their home ice, I think, all playoffs or very little. They didn't give up 2 goals in the first period, so I was like, "This is great. We're doing good here." And literally a couple minutes later, they scored and made it 2-2, and I'm like, "Yep, it's gonna be one of these kind of games, isn't it?" And then I believe they go up. Vegas went up 3-2. And then Oshie, with one of the better plays you'll see this playoffs, with that great backhand pass to Carlson, tied it up at 3. And then Tom Wilson gets a deflection, and this is when I thought the game would change, is whenever Wilson got his goal, Fleury kind of hit it in with his skate. And it was just a very awkward but very fortunate goal. So I was like, there's that good luck we need. There's that good balance we need. Let's feed off of that. Let's do something with that. And then that son of a bitch, Ryan Reeves, with a BS goal, let's call it.
A blatant cross check to the back.
Yeah,
I don't know. You could take.
Yeah, he got his goal, and then Smith Pelly couldn't clear the puck, and then his little skate blade cover, something like that, it fell off, and it caused a cross the ice pass to Thomas. Nobody gives a shit, Zach. To score. And then it was over from there after they got that one. And we tried, and we had pressure for a good 2 minute, about a minute and a half when we pulled the goalie and just couldn't get nothing past Fleury.
It was that that last chance there when I think it was Wilson passed it open net to Lars Eller.
Yeah,
it jumped out my seat. Like I thought, oh, we got it, but
I did too. I haven't seen a replay of it, probably because my heart will hurt if I see it again.
It looked like from NBC's coverage, McNabb barely got a stick underneath Lars Eller's stick.
That's what I was saying. It looked like somebody had said on Twitter that it may have been a slash that either wasn't called or just a stick play that happened. And that was the final chance. And they, of course, had to get the empty net goal to make it 6-4. Here's my thing. I mean, there were a lot of just weird calls this whole game. First period was called pretty well. I didn't mind it. It was fine. And, you know, here's my thing. If you are going to call – if you're going to – the Wilson hit was a penalty. I'm not saying it wasn't. Any Capitals fan that says, or any fan in general says that Wilson hit was not a penalty is stupid. It wasn't an interference call. They didn't call it initially. As far as I know, they didn't. So then, your little puss-ass coach for Vegas got to run his mouth and say, you had the penalty. He hit my guy. Okay, great. Yeah, like I said. Should have been a penalty. If there was a referee behind the play, he should have made the call in general so that way we wouldn't have to worry about that problem.
Right.
If you're going to huddle up for that call, and I'm not really sure where Perron got a penalty. It made it 4-4. I'm not really sure where he it might have been after the play or something like that, but it made it 4-4, which I was thankful for. I was like, well, hell, I figured as soon as the referees huddled up, it was going to be a penalty. So I was like, fuck, we're getting ready to go into PK again, which, our PK just has not been good at all. So I knew that they were going to probably send him off, and then Perron went off too. So I was like, all right, well, it's 4-4. I'll take those odds a lot better than a penalty kill. If you're going to huddle around for that, then that means Trotz needs to just complain up the ass, about any call now that happens against us. So that way,
right,
it turns out to be evenly. Because
to your point, if you're going to huddle for that call, granted, you're right, it was a penalty that was missed. So the first thing is, if it wasn't called initially on the ice, sure, you can review it. But if you're going to review that, then I feel like it should have been a necessary review on the cross check that Reeves scored on, and maybe Trotz should have pursued a review there, or they need to expand their rules on challenging or something. But it seems like, and I'm not saying necessarily Vegas was the refs had Vegas, called more calls on that side, because you're going to have missed calls in any series, but it felt like it was a little tilted towards Vegas. I think the Capitals have had to go through that the entire playoffs, though, having the refs kind of call penalties that.
What was the Pittsburgh series? With the Pittsburgh series or the Tampa series where Orlov got tripped behind the net? I think it was the Tampa series where Orlov got tripped behind the net, and then it ended up being a goal 2 seconds later.
Right.
because we kind of stopped playing expecting it to be a penalty and it didn't happen. So, we're used to it. It's happened before. Ozzy Albies, just swung and missed at a stupid-ass pitch. I think that, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen. So we're used to the adversity. I think the only other thing that I can, even remotely say that could happen is if the NHL just reviewed all scoring plays. But I feel like that doing that would be fine. But at the same time,
it would be it would kind of be a momentum killer, though. That's one of the things that the NHL is kind of good on. You score, and then you continue play right away. Whereas, I mean, I would think if they review all scoring plays, the pace would be more like a football game instead of a hockey game.
I was going to say the pace is going to slow down so much, and people are going to complain about that. So, that's really the only other thing they can do is just review all scoring plays. But I mean, now that they have the coach challenge, I'm not even sure if that's really a challengeable thing. Is to challenge something like that? I think the only thing is goalie interference and an offside.
I don't even think you can challenge a goal based off or a missed penalty call. I don't think that's so. I feel like I mean you kind of have to expand it. Maybe take a little bit of a Canadian football approach and allow them to, if you think a penalty should have been called, use your challenge to say, hey, I want you to look at this play and see if there's a penalty on it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's infuriating when the game kind of gets decided off of a call like that. Both teams only had one power play, I believe, the whole night. And, of course, we couldn't score on ours. But, I mean, at least nobody had a man advantage other than that. So, I mean, I think both of them happened in the first period. So even though there were penalty calls and stuff like that throughout the rest of the game, nobody else had a power play after the first. So that was at least sort of consistent. But I mean, there was just some calls that should have been called that didn't get called, and I don't know if that's the NHL babying their little baby franchise, the Golden Knights, or if it was because this game was on NBC and then the next two games are on NBCSN, so they're trying to get viewers to either pick up on a sports package or they don't have it, or find a way to watch the next couple games ratings-wise if you're not a fan of each team. To say, oh, wow, the refs are either putting away the whistles or there's a lot of scoring going on. It's pleasing to the eye from a non-fan per se to see that kind of offense in a hockey game, but from a pure fan standpoint, you're like, there's a lot of things to be cleaned up. That's not to say that Vegas didn't didn't play good. They played with speed and tempo.
Right.
We couldn't really get couldn't really find our tempo, our speed, our physicality was low a little bit. Defense was playing sloppy. But the other biggest thing for me is that it looked like the ice conditions were shitty all night long.
Right. And I guess that's to be expected. Vegas in the middle of almost June. And that's a tough thing. That you have, I mean, weather conditions. And then one thing for Vegas, if William Karlsson and his line gets heated up like they did tonight, I don't know if Washington's defense would be able to. That line in the regular season, all three of the players that are on Karlsson's line were like healthy scratches all year last season for their teams, and now I think it's Karlsson, Marchessault, and
Neil, I believe.
Neil. So I mean,
I don't know, and I know that they said this a couple times on the on the broadcast that I believe it's just Fleury that has a Stanley Cup on that team. My thing is that must mean you have a lot of inexperienced guys in a high pressure situation like this, the finals. So with some of these younger guys, yeah, they don't really have nothing to lose, especially now that it's the finals, and their speed and tenacity is going to carry them to doing what they've always done throughout the year. But if you're looking at it from a capital standpoint, you would want to set the physical tempo early and
Right.
often because they're going to wear down, and sometimes they could take stupid penalties because they're not used to the big time stage, and um, they're not used to in the environment. I mean, neither are we,
Right.
but I mean, we have a lot of leadership and experience to know that if you get inside their heads enough, um,
Right.
they could take the unnecessary penalties that could lead us to advantage. So,
Right.
um,
Well, I think it starts with, I think, like you said, we need to play more of a physical game, kind of like with that Tampa series in a couple games. Ovechkin had just as many hits as he had shots on goal. So if we can get our guys to hit, put a physical presence, and then I don't know if we need to like swap up our scheme defensively to try to attack at the neutral zone or something, but you can't have them in the zone for as long as they were able to maintain zone time.
yeah, I mean, it just seemed like the first half of the game, even though we got a couple goals, Vegas, um, Vegas was just all over us. That's typical Braves, leaving the bases loaded. Good thing you got to run. Um, Vegas was
we
just all over our neutral zone, our offensive zone. They were all over the place, knocking pucks off our sticks. They were getting the tempo. They were setting their game and creating the chances. Whereas I felt like that was that's sort of our game plan, at least for the Tampa series and the Pittsburgh series, is that either a 1-1-3 or 1-3-1 trap defense where they can't get out of their neutral zone.
I don't know if we're still running the same system, but whatever we were doing in game 1 and 2 of that Tampa series, obviously it worked. We shut that entire team down. I honestly think it comes down to maybe rough ice conditions and then the time zone difference. Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like that big of a factor, but when you're used to, you know, one time and then you're going and having to adjust to a different time zone. I mean, as a goaltender, just even the physical wear and tear of adjusting to a little bit of a time difference from just a normal human standpoint, you're worn out traveling and all of that. Now you have to, try to set your mind that on practice and getting ready for the game. I think game 2, Washington, they were staying in Vegas, so they'll have some time to recuperate, practice again tomorrow, and get back on Wednesday. And I think maybe game 3 when Vegas has to travel to Washington, you'll see Vegas kind of a little sluggish, having to adjust to a time zone difference. But even in that same right, Washington now has to adjust back to their time zone. So it's hockey and sports in general are, when you're traveling from east to west coast, it's not just hockey and the grueling challenges and the mental game that hockey already is. Now you have to take other factors. It's hot in Vegas in this time of the year, so the ice is probably going to be a little bit slushier or rougher than normal. And I mean, I'm pretty sure it's humid and warm in DC too. So, yeah. I don't want to say the refs and the ice and all of these outside factors are necessarily the cause to the Capitals' loss. they got outplayed for the majority of the game. They couldn't get any offensive zone time, early on in the game. And it seemed like if they got ahead, Vegas, scored right quickly next minute or two, got right back in, changed the momentum, and the Capitals were playing from behind or tied for most of the game, and they didn't really force their will on Vegas like they did against Tampa.
Yeah, it just seemed like every time we got a lead, they would come right back down and either get a lucky break or just completely outwork us and wanted them more. Whereas, anytime they scored, they would afterwards kind of have some zone time after they scored, and then it would just take us, surviving that initial thrust to get out of our zone and then try to replicate some offensive pressure. So, I mean, I think you got to come out game 2 harder, faster, stronger, more physical. Make it your game. Try to play it your way. Make them play out of their element in a way. This team likes to play on the road. So, I mean, now we're, 8-3 on the road, something like that. So, big game in game 2. Got it. I definitely don't want to say it's a must-win, but it's close to it, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so, especially with the postseason troubles at home. If you go down 2-0 after and lose both games on the road, not only will Vegas have the momentum heading into game 3, but you really haven't performed all that well in your own building. Not to say Washington won't come out and try to, and they may win a game there, but I always feel like if you can get a win on the road, it sets up and makes it a lot easier for you to win at home in a playoff series, especially when you're starting on the road. If you can get one win out of the first 2 games of the series, it makes the stage a lot easier. Now you got 2 games in your building, and you're hoping you can win both of those, and now you're in a good position if you can do that.
Hey, Indians, they fucked up the catch in center field, you dumbass. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, we're 4-5 on home ice, where we're 8-3 now on the road. So, I mean, it's almost a game-winning situation just because obviously we're better on the road in the postseason than we have been at home. This team has been very resilient and very good, at least on trying to fix the troubles from the previous game and moving on to the next game. And I hope that's the case on Wednesday night. I know every series is different, and we've trailed in a series before, so it doesn't concern me that we're down 1-0. It concerns me that Vegas just seems like they just keep having their way, and it's up to us to get them out of their element and get them feeling uncomfortable. So, I mean,
right. Well,
hell, I just want to win one game in the finals, just to say the Capitals have won a Stanley Cup Final or a game in the Stanley Cup Final, because we're 0-5 right now. So, I mean,
right, 0-5 in the finals.
I would like to just have one win. So.
Well, I mean, if you take a look, Washington first series down 2-0. They had to go and they won 4 straight. Had to play 6 games in the first series. Second series had to play 6 games against Pittsburgh. Had to play 7 games against Tampa. That's like what?
19 games.
19 games in the first 3 rounds, whereas Vegas only played 15.
15, yeah, only played 15.
So,
those 4 games make a difference.
And so, not only in days not having to play, but like rest. Like you're not, most likely Vegas didn't practice every single game or every single day after they swept LA or they beat San Jose in 6 or they beat Winnipeg in 5. Those extra days, I'm sure they watched film or, they went over game plans, but they probably weren't full practice mode. They could relax and have a day off. Whereas Washington, not only did they have to play 4 extra games and the wear and tear of the game, but that's 4 extra days of practice.
Yeah, you hope that Wednesday when we beat Tampa in Game 7, we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to kind of prepare for Vegas. And that 4 days seems like, they obviously did not rest all 4 days. I think Saturday they had a light practice, and then they went to Vegas, and then Sunday was when they actually had a practice, or maybe another light practice on Sunday, and had a full practice on Monday. So I mean, they had a couple days of rest, but definitely nothing like Vegas did. So
Right.
yeah, you hope that doesn't affect it too much. But I mean, I think we had to play tougher opponents and a tougher. Much tougher time getting to the finals, whereas Vegas didn't have as tough a competition.
Right. Well, you had an LA team that squeaked in to barely got by Colorado for the first wild card, and the only reason they did that was they finally got Jeff Carter back the final half of the year.
Yeah.
They really, and that was a series where it was low scoring. Jonathan Quick went 0-4 and had like a 1 point something goals against average.
He did a Braden Holtby basically, but
and then for a minute there in that San Jose series, they struggled against San Jose. They got through in 6, but struggled in parts of that series. And then I don't know what happened. They hit a switch and was able to get by Winnipeg pretty easily.
I think I saw where of their 12 wins before tonight, 10 of them were by 2 goals or less. Right. So of course they're expecting Fleury to play lights out every single game, and I mean he pretty much has. And that's another thing too is you gotta beat Fleury, and tonight scoring 4 goals against him does at least give me some confidence we can score against them. It's just a matter of playing tightly defensively and trapping them as much as possible, prevent as many high scoring chances as possible, and
you can really say, they had 4 good goals on Holtby. They had a crap goal that Ryan Reeves scored where, if you're Holtby, Carlson's down in the blue paint. It's kind of hard for you to make a save with your player in your own crease. So, can't really blame him for that one. Smith Pelly needs to clear the puck for the 5th goal that they scored. If he got that puck clear, Holtby is, in a spot where he didn't have to make a save. So I feel like that defense for Vegas has set up and made it easy for Fleury to not have to make save after save, whereas in parts of this playoff run, Holtby's bailed us out numerous times.
Yeah, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a couple times where we had a lot of icings. It seems like almost every game or close to every game, we just have a lot of icings. Something that I have noticed and of course NBC catches everything, but Holtby's rebound control wasn't the greatest in the Tampa series. I thought tonight was better. He definitely did have some slight rebound controls.
Right.
And, God, of course, the fucking ball drops. For the love of Jesus.
We apologize. He's watching the Braves game. We apologize for his lack of finishing stories.
Fuck everything right now.
But yeah, Holtby, his entire he's been able to make really great saves, but he's one of the most aggressive goaltenders in the league, playing pucks that he probably shouldn't play. And this year and especially this year, for some reason, I don't know if it's like a different mentality or something, he has been giving up all season, a ton of rebounds, where a lot of the, in past years, he's been able to make a save and not give up a rebound, or, at least stop the puck and not give up a rebound. Whereas this year, he's kind of been giving a little bit more steady supply of rebounds than normal. But usually we have some defense there that can help clear the puck out. It hasn't really hurt us much in the playoffs. That's something that you would like to see him work on, but other than that, really, I mean, you got to think, if we stuck with Grubauer after going down 2-0 at Columbus, I mean, Holtby really brought us through that series.
I mean, I don't think Holtby has played horribly. I think the only issue is it was his rebound control, and I mean, I thought he did a better job of that tonight. There were some leaky pucks that, with the Tampa series, we were able to get defensemen in the way of getting those second and third chances to where they didn't get those opportunities. So I mean, if we can do a better job of that, if Holtby happens to have that problem, or if he can vacuum pucks up a little bit better, it'd be great. But I mean, we tightened up a few things. We're ready to be playing harder, go out for blood on Wednesday, and really give Vegas a real sign of what we can do.
Right.
So, on a side note, I figured out why Houston lost to Golden State tonight.
No Chris Paul?
No. They missed 27 consecutive three-pointers.
Yeah, you'll lose a game if you shoot 27 straight threes and don't hit one.
Yeah. So that happens. So
well, yeah. Game 2 Wednesday night. I think Holtby will find his rhythm. I think you'll give him time in the morning to look at film or practice, or however they schedule their mornings out. Let him get his rhythm. Like I said, you can say 2 or 3 of those goals were on him. The other 2 goals, bad ref calls, and then an empty netter. So, I mean, not like he can save an empty netter. So,
yeah. Like I said, it was a crazy but very sloppy game 1 from both ice conditions, kind of calls, and then just our play in general was just not the greatest in the world. So,
I mean, the one call that sticks out, and to my mind, happened at the end of the game. We did pull the goalie, and Vegas shot the puck down, and they completely missed an icing call.
Yeah, I don't know where that. I don't know if maybe one of our guys touched it, or I know sometimes if they have a chance to get it and
they stop it.
Yeah, sometimes they'll not call it, but I mean, yeah, that would have helped at least a little bit. I'm saving a few seconds and getting an offensive zone face-off, which it seemed like every time we had an offensive zone face-off, we couldn't win it. It was always, oh Jesus, it was always we couldn't win the face-off in the offensive zone.
Right.
Why is Lucas Sims still on the fucking team right now?
But yeah, they'll let Kody recognate his thoughts. That's something that all playoffs long, it seems like Backstrom, Kuznetsov, Eller has been really inconsistent face-off-wise. The only one that's really been consistent for us is Jay Beagle, but Beagle's not in a position to take 20 face-offs a game. You need your top-line centers to, win in the face-off circle.
Definitely Kuznetsov. He's one that needs to rebound and win some face-offs there, and they don't need to go back into that top line doesn't need to go back into their old ways of Ovechkin tries to puck handle, and deke run every defenseman he goes to. I understand you're trying to create offense, man, but
right. Well, the thing with, I don't know what Trotz was calling out with the extra attacker, but they set up like it was a power play, and which means Ovi's sitting at the blue line. He's your best scorer. You need him in the somewhere active, playing the puck.
I think it's this the whole point of he has one of the harder shots, and it's just him getting that puck to the net because we know Ovechkin, as soon as he gets it, most of the time he will shoot it. And I feel like whenever you're on a power play or anything like that, it's always going to be that Kuznetsov and Backstrom are going to be on that right wing side and down below the net. So if you can just clog up the lanes, get into the net, you have a good chance of getting that blocked.
We had Fleury beat. It's just Eller couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. So and then again, it could have been a slash. I really didn't see the stick play.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I just saw the puck go towards the front of the net, saw Eller was there and missed it, and I just looked at the team. I was like, really? This is how this stupid-ass game was going to end?
But I think just, kind of briefly end this because it's getting late. Stupid Vegas.
Stupid fucking Nets and the fucking Vegas Golden Knights.
But I think Game 2, definitely look for the Caps to rebound, come out really motivated, at least to start the game, to be more physical, more, use that speed. Defense needs to step up and slow down the speed of Vegas. They were able to do that in Tampa. They stopped Kucherov for the first couple games, and then when Tampa won, 2 straight, Kucherov in that line was dominant. But once they were able to stop him in Game 6 and 7, that's when the Washington worked the best. You got to stop their speed guys. Carlson, you need to stop. There's a couple players on that team that you slow them down. You hit them a couple times, get them bruised and bruised up, get them second guessing, touching the puck in open ice. I think the Caps definitely got to come out physical. I would expect them to come out more physical. But when you come out physical, you need to be smart with where you make your plays. Don't force any stupid penalties like Burakovsky did in the first period today.
Make smarter plays, faster plays, quicker reads, more physical, less turnovers, control the neutral zone. It's a lot of things, but I mean, it's little things. Clean up the messes on defense a little bit, control the neutral zone, and be more physical.
And it's like we've already proved. There's some positives we can take away from this game. Like I said, we've proven that given pressure, we can put the puck past Fleury. That's not something, honestly. I mean, Fleury, yeah, he's been on the Penguins and he's been able to dominate us in the playoffs, but we've put pucks past him plenty of times. He has his career playoff numbers are great, but you look at his numbers when he has to play the Capitals, and they're a little raised in statistics. We put more pucks behind the net than any other team in the playoffs against Fleury. So we have his number necessary. I mean, in the win column, he obviously he wins, but we can score. On Holtby, we've proven that we put 4 in the net tonight. I think we need to, we don't really need to necessarily change anything offensively. I'd say tighten up the neutral zone, stop the unnecessary turnovers. When you need to clear the puck, make sure it's cleared. Don't just throw it just out. Make sure you can, get it cleared. Don't take unnecessary penalties. Defense needs to clean up a little bit. Small adjustments that if we can perfect them, we have a team that can beat them. We've proven that we can compete with them. Honestly, at this rate, it's going to be a good series, I would say. I'm
It's gonna be a
hoping.
stressful and nerve-wracking series.
Oh, it will be, yeah. I'm hoping it goes at least 6. And I hope Washington can come out on that winning end there. But we just got. Oh, that's the Thunder rolls. You gotta take it game by game. Don't think necessary. Let's go 6, or let's try to make it a 5-game series. You just got to think about the game ahead of you and make sure you play your best game that you can. I didn't think we necessarily had a bad game. Just small things, missed penalties, bad turnovers, taking bad penalties. Small things that that change and vary throughout a game-to-game basis. And you got to overcome some of that stuff. And I think the Capitals, they won't go down without a fight. I don't think Vegas has as easy as an opponent as some of their other teams that they played. And I'm looking forward to see how the Caps rebound in the game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll come on a win again on game 2, heading to Washington in game 3, tied at 1. Just I hope they play a little more pissed off, take all this into account, and be ready to be more aggressive, physical on Wednesday night. And the night on a couple more things. First is whoever's leading the group for Seattle to get an expansion team in the NHL has said they hope to join the NHL in 2020 and win the Stanley Cup in 2021. At this rate, you can just about fucking do anything you want to in the NHL and win the Stanley Cup if you're an expansion team. With that, fuck the New York Mets, fuck the Vegas Golden Knights. Golden State ain't shit. Cavaliers ain't shit. Dansby Swanson ain't shit.
LeBron James is going to have 50 points a game because if you don't, the Cavaliers are going to get swept.
I don't even know why anybody watches that fucking league anymore. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson just swung at 3 fucking straight pitches and didn't give a shit.
Well, see, on that basketball note, I'm an Atlanta Hawks fan. I watched maybe 1 game this year, and we got blown out, so I turned it off. So, basketball
was like 5 Hornets games. That was a strike, you dumbass swing. I watched maybe 3 Hornets games, including one I went to, and watched 1 Wizards game. 2 of them, one I went to, and the other one didn't care.
It's boring. The product is boring.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. Hopefully we come out on the winning end of that. And say no, he didn't. He didn't go, right? He said no.
We're gonna end.
There you go.
We just want everybody to know.
Okay.
Washington is no longer a losing sports city. I don't care if we win this series. We made it to a finals.
Pump the brakes for a second. Let's first win a game in the finals, and then we can say we're no longer a sports losing city. Just give me 1 win. I don't care if it's on my. I don't give a shit if you're losing 5.
The Redskins are going to win the division this year. It'll be okay.
I ain't putting that one out of reach. I think we're a sleeper team there. So,
look, we win the division like every 3 years, and it's been about 3 years since we last won the division. So somehow the football gods will be like, the Redskins will win with a 7-9 record in the division, make it into the playoffs.
Hail to the Redskins. That's our fucking team.
Yeah.
So, yep. For game 1 reactions, it's phenomenal K-Dog Kody here. Got James on the other side there. Let's hope for a winning Wednesday night in Vegas so we can come home with a 1-1 series lead. The Braves can't fucking hit a ball anymore. I throw my helmet and throw the shit to Preston Tucker. Yes, son of a bitch.
We need Dansby's twin brother to hit another.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. So go Caps. Let's see if we can do it on Wednesday and hope for a better result. So until then, guys, we will see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully we'll see you maybe on Wednesday.
Yeah, the 8 minutes of your evening.